Before I start, guys, I want to read a quote to you guys. It says, "It doesn't matter how oversaturated the market is. If God calls you to it, there's room for you." And this topic that I'm going to be talking about today is in regards to this. I don't know if you guys have also experienced it. When you want to do something or start something new, there are people who will always come up and say how everybody's doing that now. That's what happened when I started my aviation career. When I wanted to become a flight attendant, people were like, there's so many flight attendants. When I became a makeup artist, there were people saying, oh my gosh, everyone is a makeup artist now. When I got on YouTube, people were saying, oh my gosh, everybody's a YouTuber now, you know. And the purpose of this is to tell you that people will always have something to say. Please do not let it stop you from chasing your dreams. I'm on the other side now. Eventually got the aviation job. I eventually started my makeup business, and I eventually started my YouTube channel, you know. So I just want to let you know, guys, that people will always have something to say. Always have something to say, especially when they see you going after their dreams. I don't know if they are intimidated by that, and them saying that they think they will stop you from going after your dreams. Please never ever give anyone that satisfaction. When you have a dream, go after it with everything in you. I'm a huge believer that God wouldn't put anything in your mind, in your heart, if He didn't have the means to see it through, you know. Of course, you have this vision where you're on the ground. You don't see the vision that God has, because He's up there and He can see everything, you know. So if you have something in your heart that you want to do, that you've been thinking about for a while, and you can't seem to stop thinking about, please go after it. Please pursue it. You will thank yourself when you get to the other side. So yeah, let's get to the video. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Guys, I cannot believe we're at 700 subscribers. I am so excited. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here, thank you so much for being a day one. So yeah, guys, I apologize for the blank canvas behind me. I find that when I'm recording sit downs, the camera focuses on everything behind me except for me. That's why I had to delete the other video that I had recorded, because it was too blurry. So yeah, I'm gonna try and re-record that video today for you guys, because it's a video that is highly requested. I get a lot of DMs about how I got into aviation and whatnot, so I just feel like it's better if I have a video out about it, so that when someone inboxes me or DMs me about it, I can just send them the link to the video so that they can go watch it for themselves. I'm very open to helping people, but I'm not going to help people who are asking me, what are the requirements? What did you do to be a flight attendant? No, I will answer people who are like, I've done my research and I'm preparing for the open day. What was your experience at the open day? Then I can answer you specifically, because I know you're serious about this. This is something that you really, really want, you know? So yeah, today I'm just going to be talking about how I got into aviation, the open day at Qatar Airways, and the assessment day. I went for my training in 2013 at EPT Aviation Training. The school is in Kempton Park, and it's a 6 weeks training. I actually went to go get my aviation license. Let me show it to you. This is how the aviation license looks like. It should be white, but because I've had mine since 2013, of course it's not going to be white. These are the contents of the license. I want to show you. This is me. And yeah, there's a lot of things inside. There's also my aviation medical certificate. So before you can go to EPT Aviation and do your license, obviously you have to do your research to figure out like what are the requirements to be a flight attendant. So that's what I did first, and then I also went onto their site to see what I actually needed to qualify for the training. So obviously you need to pass your English with a certain percentage. Actually you need to pass matric. You need to pass matric. You need to be medically fit, so you need to go to an aviation doctor to do certain tests, and then he will give you the go-ahead. He'll give you a little paper that you can go to the school with. And what else do you need? Yeah, those are the important, like important things that you would need before you actually go to EPT, and you would need the money. And of course, so I had done my research on how much the school would cost me, accommodation wise, transport wise, and all of that. So I went for my training at the specific school because I knew people who had went to the school, so I knew it was not a scam. Because with parents, when you have to convince them, when you're doing something and you have to convince them to give you money for it, you need to let them know that this is legit. So if you go to any parent and you tell them, I'm going to be doing a 6-week course, and it's 15,000, who's going to believe that? Of course they're going to have their doubts. So when I went to my mom to present this, I had already told her I knew someone who had done the course, so that if she needs someone to talk to, I can call this person to talk to her. So yeah, I did my research, applied, went to go get my medical certificate from an aviation doctor, and then I took it back to the school. And then of course they gave me a date to come back to the school for my aviation training. Went for the training for 6 weeks, and then after the 6 weeks I wrote the exam, the CAA exam, the Civil Aviation Authority exam. Yes, I wrote the exam and then I passed it. So I thought this was it, I was going to get a job, and that's not how it happened. So I'm going to talk about this in a story time type. I don't know if that makes sense. But yes, I'm going to make this a story time. So yeah, when I convinced my mom to go to the aviation school, I kind of just said that after the course I would have a job, because I thought that's how it would happen. So yeah, I went, and then I didn't get the job after the training. There was no job. The school just gives you the training, guys. I really want you guys to get this into your head before you actually go to any aviation school. They are just going to give you the training. They're just going to give you the license, and that's it. You actually have to go out there and look for the job yourself. Cool. So I started looking for a job, and guys, looking for a job is so expensive. First of all, you're unemployed, you're looking for a job. Here I was, I told my mom after I go to the school, I'll get the job. I don't have the job, and now I'm back to ask for more money. Keep in mind that the training at the time was 15,000 for the 6 weeks. I stayed at a guest house that had transport, so the costs as well were piling up, So after all of that, here I am back again, asking for more money to go on the internet to send my CVs and whatnot, So for that year, I finished my course in April, let's say April. For that year, I continued to apply for jobs, and nothing was coming up. I wasn't even getting called in for interviews, so that was just so tricky. Cool. And something happened. The people that I was in training with got called in for check-in agent jobs, and I didn't get called in. I don't know how, because we completed the training together. So I was just so bummed, because I just felt like, how, why didn't I get called in? But here I was still happy for them. And as time goes, after you do a certain course, as time goes and you're not getting any job in that field, it's time to look into other things, But I was just so stubborn about this dream. I was just like, no ways, I am going to do this. This is what I want to do. I'm going to do this. So I got not hired. I went to the open day with Qatar Airways in 2014. A year later, that's when I went for my open day, and that was successful. But before then, I had gone for other open days with Qatar Airways. I had even went as far as going to Durban for an open day, and I was not successful. So in 2013, I did my training. 2014, that was my successful open day and assessment day, and I got the job with Qatar Airways. Cool. So now you're there looking for a job. Please look for the requirements, the airline you want to work for once, because I didn't do that. I just went straight to EPT. At the time, when I went to EPT, I didn't even know about Qatar Airways. I wanted to work for a South African airline, And luckily, when I went to the school, I was already approaching 21. I was probably 20, going on 21. So for overseas airlines, you need to be 21 upwards. So luckily for me, the year that I finished my training, I was 20. And by the time I got hired, I think I was 21. If I don't remember how it happened, but yes, I think I was 21. I fit the requirement for the overseas airlines. So I think maybe that's why I wasn't getting in with the other open days. I don't know. But I did go for open days with Qatar Airways before the one that was successful. And every open day that I went to, I would go home and fix my mistakes. I would go home and go on Facebook and Google and search for people who had went on open days. And surprisingly, there are a lot of testimonies on the internet where people tell you what to do, what they did wrong. They got successful until this stage, but they didn't make it. And if you take all those things and you put them together, the chances of you making it are very, very high. If you go on Facebook now, just search for cabin crew, Etihad, Emirates, Qatar. Also search for Cara Grande. Now I searched recently, and the people who actually wrote books on how to be a flight attendant with these specific airlines that I've mentioned, but they actually charge a certain fee. Guys, just pay that fee, because I promise you those guides are really going to help you get your dream job. So I learned from my mistakes and I learned from other people's mistakes. So imagine that from 2013 to 2014, the time I got the job, how much I had spent just going up and down looking for a job, sending my CV everywhere, and eventually I got in. So this is what happened in 2014 at the Qatar Airways open day. So of course I went to the open day. I was wearing a black skirt, a white shirt, clear stockings, and heels, like professional heels. I don't know how to explain them. The nurse heels, the heels that the nurses wear. Yeah, I was wearing those heels, guys. I was looking professional. So when you go for the open day, the recruiters just want to see how you're going to look in the uniform. That's why you have to dress in that uniform style. So I went there with my CV. I had applied online like before I went there, and they had received my application. It's just the procedure, it's just standard procedure, but you still also have to go to the open day to drop off your CV, where they can see you and picture you in their uniform, and they can actually ask you whatever they want to ask you. When I arrived at the open day, there were more than 1,000 people there. So when you hear that there's an open day coming in Johannesburg and Pretoria, and you actually want to go, with Qatar Airways, it's not invitation. I know with Emirates and Etihad, if I'm not mistaken, those are invitation only. So if you want to go for the Qatar Airways one, just make sure you arrive there early, because you're going to have to go stand in a long queue, so it's better to be there early so you can be one of the first few people to drop in your CVs in the morning when it's still early. And also I feel like it shows the recruiters that you're very serious, because if you're a flight attendant, you have to be serious about time, about being on time rather. So yes, I arrived very early on that day. I got there and I dropped off my CV. So what happens at the open day is that you walk into the room. There are a lot of recruiters, and you'll just go to the recruiter that's not busy with anyone. I got there and I gave this lady my CV. She went through it, and after going through it, she asked me why I wanted to be a cabin crew member. So obviously, guys, this is something that I really, really wanted. I had done my research. I had went to other open days, so I was ready for this question. So I answered her how I answered her, and she gave me a little letter that had a number written on it, and told me to come the next day for the assessment day. So yeah, I left that place that day and I went back home and I went to study and do my more research to figure out what's going to happen on the next day. Cool, I was excited, went back to the pages that I was doing my research on, and I saw people were talking about the assessment days experiences. I saw how other people didn't make it to the last stage. I saw the people that made it to the last stage, what they also did, like what was different that they did, So I took all of that, and the next day I went in for the assessment day. I was very early. On the assessment day, there were 100 of us. So from 1,000 people, they had already chosen 100 people. But then at that stage, we still don't have the job. We literally had to fight for that position, So we started off with the English test. The English test is mixed with the maths test. You don't actually need a calculator for the maths test. It's very simple maths. it's not easy maths, but it's simple maths. And also the English test, it was literally had to read like a story and then answer the questions that had to do with the story. I think it's called a comprehension test. I'm not sure. Yeah, we had to do that. After that test, we had to leave after you finish writing. Obviously, you have to leave the room. We were called back in. Everybody had a certain number. After that, a number was called out. And if your number was called out, you were asked to go out of the room. So at this point, you don't know what's what. You don't know if the remaining people are the ones who are going to be given a pep talk. Oh, guys, thanks for coming. You didn't make it. Or if the people who went outside of the room are going to be told, bye, thank you for coming, type of vibe, So luckily, my name wasn't called out, and the people who were called out had to leave, and they didn't make it through. So we had to stay behind so that we can go to the next activity. The next test rather, was we had to go in a room and you had to pick something up, and then you needed to talk about that thing and how, I don't remember correctly, but I remember I picked a key out of the pink things that were put on the desk. I picked a key, and I said something about how this key was just going to open the door for me into Qatar Airways. Like, guys, I went in. I was so poetic. But they loved my answer because I made it to the next round. I'm not saying them in the order that they are, because I'm just saying the parts that I remember. I remember there was also a debate. This debate I had seen on that Facebook group when people were talking about the experiences, and they were just giving everyone tips that if you make it to this stage, just know that this debate is not really about the debate. It's not about who's right. The recruiters just wanted to see how you deal with conflict and how you are with other people, because when you work as a cabin crew member, you work in a team. You work with different people every single day. So the point that the people had made in that group, they had said that when you get to the assessment day, it's cool if you make friends, but do not be buddy with them the entire day, because throughout the day the recruiters are watching you. They want to see that you can talk to everyone. You're not just going to get a favorite and that's it for the rest of the day, because what you do there is what you're going to do at the job, and you need to be flexible with people. So cool, I got there that day. I wasn't even buddy with anyone. Like, if you know me, it's so easy for me to make friends. It's so easy. I don't know why I'm like that, and it really annoys me, but it's so easy for me to make friends, and I was already making friends. So I had to always remind myself that move on to the next person. So cool, we got to the debate, and when we got to the debate, I remember that they said, when you get to this debate, voice out your opinion. Give another person a chance to talk. If you see that there's a person in your group who just keeps shying away, call them out and say, hey, what do you think? Because before you actually go into the debate, you go into two groups where you discuss the topics that you guys were given. You give each other, you get roles, you get given different roles, and then when you get to the debate, everybody has to have a say. So if you're a shy person, on that day, you need to get out of your shell, because on that day you're fighting for your position in Qatar Airways. So that's what happened. I spoke. I gave other people a turn to speak. I called out people who were not who were very shy, to give them a chance. I was all over the place, and because of that, I made it through. And on the other stages, I didn't see what the people in the group were talking about. But in the specific stage, I saw that whatever they had said in that group, and I did, worked out. So if you're going to the open day, guys, please do not be buddy with anyone. If you're going with your friend, great, but do not be with them the entire day. Go out, talk to different people, because at the end of the day, that day is about you and your dream. So cool, we did that, and then after all those tests and activities, you still have the final interview. So luckily for us, it was such a long day that when we got to the final interview, it was around 9 o'clock in the evening, if I'm not mistaken. So all these tasks took so much time, because for the key activity that I mentioned, you had to go in the room one by one. So time is going by throughout the day. So when you go for your assessment day, please take snacks, something to eat when you're there, because it's a long day. You can't leave until the final interview is done. So fortunately for us, the final interview happened late at night. So I went in, I think they just asked me a question that was customer service related, and I had already had work experience, so I was able to answer the question. So I would advise anyone that is trying to get into the aviation world and you're struggling, just go do something that is customer service related. Like go be a waiter, something that will just go into your CV and give you customer service experience. That will work, like that will really, really work for you. That I would advise you to actually do that. Because the questions that they ask that day, they want to see how you are in a work environment. Can you work with people? Can you solve conflicts? You know, all of those things. So we did the final interview. After the final interview, guys, did I not think I was in? So I left that day. When I left with this other girl that I had met there because she was going to the site that I was going to. We exchanged numbers, and I had already exchanged numbers with the other people who were there who made it through to the last round. So we all formed a group so we can keep each other up to date. Like if something happens, someone can update in the group of, okay, they called me, so that you know that they're going to call you or something. So when we left that day, we actually thought that we got the job. That's what I said to my mom also when I was calling her. Guys, a week later, I'm talking to this girl on WhatsApp and she's like, girl, have you checked your email? At this point, I'm just like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, she got a regret email. So I'm just like, I'm so sorry. My heart is pounding, guys, like it's racing. Because I'm thinking, I've already told my mom I got this job. My mom has already told her work, like her colleagues, her work friends, that I got in. So I'm just confused. I'm just like, what the hell? You know? So I quickly hang up and I go straight to check my emails. And guys, I got the congratulation email. Guys, I lost it. I was so happy. Guys, I was so happy because I can just imagine having to go back to my mom and saying, after all of that, I still didn't get in, you know? So I called her and I explained to my mom. I called my mom and I explained to her, hey, this is what happened. Hey, she was so shocked. She's like, wait, there was a possibility. I'm like, girl. So yeah, I got in, continued in the WhatsApp group. What happens is that we don't leave. We all don't leave at the same time. Like we get recruited at the same time, and let's say 10 people were successful. We all didn't leave at the same time. I'm just giving you guys an example. We all didn't leave at the same time. 2 people left in late July. 2 people left in August. I left in October, on the 15th of October. That's when I left South Africa to go to Doha. So I think the reason that they do this is because they want to mix people in the same class. You know, they'll take 2 people from South Africa, 2 people from Thailand, 2 people from Jakarta, like Indonesia. You know, so that you guys can be mixed in one group. Because when you start working, you're not going to be working only with South Africans. You're going to be working with other nationalities. So you might as well just get used to it in training, so that when you start working, you're already used to different nationalities. So that's what happened. I left in October. I started my training in October and I started flying in December. The training with Qatar Airways is 2 months. So with international airlines, you don't need this aviation license. What happens is that when you get to Doha, they take you guys to their own training and give you guys everything that you need and before you start flying. This license, you need it to fly in South Africa. A lot of airlines in South Africa require you to have this license with you when you apply for a position with their company. With international airlines, you need to be a certain height. I also left this out. This also happens at the assessment day. You do a height reach test. You have to reach 212 centimeters on your tippy toes. So of course I'm tall, so I also still had to do it, but because I'm tall, I literally just went there and did the test, passed it. So when you actually go on Google, you search for the airline that you want to work for. You search for the requirements that they need. Check if you fit those requirements and then go on about it. Go for your training. If you're going for international airlines, don't go for the training, guys. I went for the training and I didn't really see the need of like to go for it when I got the Qatar Airways job, because I actually still went for the training when I got to Qatar Airways, you know? It's just a nice thing to have. But if you're really looking for a job in South Africa, you need this license. I know I just gave you all this information. Please take it in, but don't now go do your aviation training right now. Like, we are in the middle of a pandemic. I'm cabin crew as well, and I'm not flying at the moment, so I can just imagine how hectic it is for the airlines. You know, I saw online that Emirates, Etihad, and Qatar Airways had to pause the interviews. Even they're not recruiting at this time, they're even retrenching. So please don't go now and go do your aviation licenses, because the courses that are inside the license expire. So if this pandemic goes on for a while, after you've completed your training and you've gotten your license, obviously it's going, like, certain things inside of it are going to expire, and when they expire, you need to go back to the school, you need to pay more money to make sure that your license remains current, you know. So I would advise you to wait it out, and when things go back to normal again, then you can go back and you can go to the aviation training and go get your training, you know. But right now, please don't waste money like that, guys. Do not do it. We have come to the end of the video. If you feel like there's something that I've left out, please go to the comment section. Don't DM me. Please just go to the comment section so that I can answer you there, and everybody can be able to see the answer as well. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Please, 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 please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.